And here's another great question from a baby center parents that I think many other parents have as well. If my baby has colic, what should I watch out for with regards to their crying and physical movements? My own daughter had colic, and I know
Mhm.
it was such a difficult time to navigate. Could you walk us through what this parent should look for?
Absolutely. I would say, like, first and foremost, like, colic can be one of the most stressful things that new parents have to deal with, especially as a first time parent, because it's very difficult to soothe. What we tell parents is colic crying look different from everyday crying. You start getting used to how your baby cries and fusses, talking about the hunger cues that we discussed in the previous question. But colic crying can just be more aggressive. It's more intense. It's more loud. It sounds more like a scream. And what parents describe as upset. They look mad. And those are the things that we sort of describe when we describe colic crying. The other thing is colic crying is really difficult to soothe. You know, your regular crying, you can pick the baby up, or you can give a pacifier, you can give them a change of scenery and it doesn't seem to work. And that's really more colic crying, where you're trying all your normal things. You've got your whole arsenal of techniques and none of those things are working. And in fact, sometimes seems to get worse and worse and worse. Another little cue that we use for colic crying is colic tends to occur in those like evening hours. Now, that's not 100% of the time, but that is more common. So if you're seeing that really fussy, irritative, aggressive cry, and it happens to be on a regular interval in those evening hours, it can be more consistent with colic. And so that's something to kind of keep in mind.
That's good to know. I know during the witching hour, I guess we could call it, that was when my daughter seemed to be the most fussy with the colic. So
Yeah.
something to keep in mind for sure. If if a baby has colic, does that always mean that they're in pain?
It's so hard to know because baby pain is like one of those things where we can't really study it because we can't really inflict pain in a baby. And so we're really just sort of assuming and guessing. But from what we understand as pediatricians, colic pain is described as abdominal pain. And it really does seem like it really is the belly that's bugging them. And what we think we know is that baby is likely feeling some sort of bloating or gassy abdominal pain. And they can't really express why, because we know that sometimes burping will help soothe that. And we know when they pass gas that they feel better, or if they have a stool, they feel better. So that's how we kind of know that it is something in that kind of like gassy, bloated feeling that they're kind of experiencing. It's really important too to remember to use anti-colic bottles in this situation as well, because especially the MAM anti-colic bottle, it really is designed to decrease the amount of gas that babies swallow. And it really is that gas pain, whether they burp it or they pass it, you have to get that gas out to decrease their bloating. And so it really is important. I remind parents all the time to, invest in an anti-colic bottle, and the MAM especially is just a great one out there and a great option. And it self-sterilizes as well. So it's like icing on the cake.
That's a great tip. I know sometimes you have to go through a variety of different bottles to find one that works, and this one sounds like such a great option. Is there anything else, Dr. Neela, that you want to share with our baby center audience before we go?
What I tell moms and dads in this situation is you're going to get a lot of information from a lot of places. And I think it's really important to trust your maternal or paternal instinct. That being said, you do want to choose companies like MAM that are creating products that are taking your baby's health and safety into consideration and want to support that. Because, like I said, the happier that your baby is and the more safe your baby is, and the more that you can relax and the more that you enjoy the process, the better it is for everybody.
You can check out Man Baby at Amazon, Walmart, and Target.